Make sure I share my sound. Here we go.
For people living with disabilities by providing information, resources, and programming geared towards greater inclusion and quality of life. Check out some of the programs we offer through our online learning platform, Connect Together, including our Service Mondays, where we highlight a local organization or initiative. Wednesday Chair Yoga with Bobby Seal-Kobiski. Thursday Adapted Fitness with Megan Williamson. Friday Rotating Dance Classes hosted by Janice Lawrence and Joanne Cuff. And other initiatives, including presentations by the Disabled Independent Gardeners Association's Growable program and our Perspective series. Check out our updated programs calendar on our website, connectra.org, or find us on Facebook at Connectra Society.
All right, all you, Renee.
Great. Hi, everyone. I am Renee, and I've been with Connectra and the Disability Foundation for a few years now, doing nutrition information education sessions, as well as cooking sessions too. I own a company called Trunosh, which is in Vancouver in South Granville, really close by to one of your community gardens, actually. So we're between Granville Island and the Indigo chapters on Broadway. So I am going to be talking about some topics around seasonal eating, as well as sharing with you a recipe from my kitchen. We're going to start in my kitchen today. I'm not sure if you guys can see me. I'm going to unblur my background, and I'm going to introduce you to some things that can be talked about and be cooking with you today. So I have a recipe that I kind of do really quickly when I have no time. And this is a spaghetti squash that I'm going to be cutting into about 2-centimeter chunks. And we're going to put it in the oven, and then I can come back and I have a presentation that I created to share with you. And then we're going to come back after the presentation and check on the spaghetti squash and finish the whole talk that I'm going to give with you today. So a lot of people don't like to try new things, but I'm always a person that urges people to try new things. And spaghetti squash is one of those things that kind of looks scary because it's a big squash, but it's one of the most exciting things to do, to substitute things like spaghetti or other starches that some of my clients want to steer away from if they are gluten-free or if they're looking out for their blood sugars. So I'm going to put a round of spaghetti squash into the oven in a pan with a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper, as well as a little bit of bitter for the caramelization. So I'm going to drizzle about a teaspoon of olive oil and sprinkle a little bit of salt and pepper, and just put it in the oven at about 350 degrees. It doesn't have to be a big oven. I'm using a toaster oven right here, and most of you have something like that. Or you can actually put it in a air fryer, which a lot of people have lately. So there's olive oil, salt and pepper. I'm going to put in about a little teaspoon of butter as well. If you don't have butter, you don't have to use it. Or if you're vegan, you don't have to use this either. You can use like coconut oil or just leave out the butter alone. So a little bit like that, just a little sliver. And I'm going to break it into small pieces so it touches the edges of the spaghetti squash. And it's going to go into the oven for about 20 minutes, just enough time for me to give you a little presentation today. Oh, and I forgot. Also, I'm going to cut open the top of a whole garlic clove. So this will act as a great sauce once it's all toasted in my oven. Again, just cut off a little bit of top of the garlic, just expose a little opening, and a little salt and pepper. And again, a little bit of olive oil just drizzled on top. And I'm going to put that with the spaghetti squash right next to it. And I'm just going to give that 20 minutes, and we're going to go into my presentation. Okay, let me share my screen. And we're going to do oops. Great. Okay, so I hope you can all see my screen right now. I am a registered dietitian. I'm also a chef, and I have a clinical master's degree from NYU to study people who have diabetes and pre-diabetes. I have family history of diabetes in my family. My father passed away from diabetes about 12 years ago. My mom has hypertension. And I have a food line that is gluten-free because my business partner is celiac. So I know all about avoiding gluten and avoiding sugars and avoiding sodium. I really focus on recipes that I recreated from my time working as a chef in different restaurants. I worked in Italian restaurants, French restaurants, Scandinavian restaurants, Chinese restaurants. And I took all my knowledge from working on these restaurants and kind of paired it with my knowledge in nutrition and created a food line that kind of matches what I would like to cook for my family. So if you want to look for me, go to truenosh.com. If you want to email me with any more questions than what we're going to talk about today, you can also type in questions into your chat. And I believe Graham will be telling me your questions, and I can answer them after this presentation. Okay, so why I'm talking about your health and eating with seasonal ingredients. I want to start off this the series of mine with you today with talking about seasonal eating, because we're coming into the cusp of the middle of spring and into the summer. And I want you guys to all think about what you can do coming up in the new season of spring and summer to get all different ideas to help you kind of save the amazing foods that we're going to be coming up with in the market, to move on with your planning in your daily lives for the winter and the fall season. So why we want to eat seasonally is because we want to celebrate the seasons. And in Canada, we really have an amazing group of farmers that farm a lot of different ingredients and produce that we should be really proud of. And when fruits and vegetables are in season, it means that we can enjoy them at their peak freshness. And we can also do that by supporting local farmers. It encourages to focus really on what we can do to save money or kind of change in our lifestyles, to include eating certain different fruit produce and pair it with different types of protein like fish and meat during specific parts of the year. So this is why I really want to talk about this topic at this time. So some of the risks if we don't eat produce in different in their peak season is we kind of forego the flavor and texture. So when we eat produce that is grown in like the summer and the spring, it is at its ripest, and that's when it tastes the best. And it is harvested at the time where we can enjoy it the most and save a lot of money, because usually during these peak times, it is when the supply is very fruitful, and therefore there's a lot of it, and most of the time we can save a lot of money when we eat when fruits and vegetables are in season. And another thing is nutrition. So when fruits and vegetables are grown in optimal conditions, there is a lot more sun exposure and higher levels of antioxidants, such as vitamin C, folate, beta carotene, and also vitamin D in the produce and fruits and vegetables itself. So therefore, we're supporting our health by increasing the optimal nutrition in our fruits and vegetables, as well as when we're eating seasonally. For example, coming up, the summer is coming, and foods that are in season are watermelon, berries, and cucumber. These are the things that really keep us hydrated during the summertime when it's hot. When the summer ends, we're going into the fall and winter seasons. Winter squashes and root vegetables are great ingredients for stews and soup to keep us warm and comfy during the long winter months. So I want to kind of go into some things that we can do when we're thinking about seasonal cooking. I do a lot of stews in the winter, soups, because a lot of root vegetables are very, very prominent in the winter times. And we can actually keep these in our home throughout the fall and winter to help us create different recipes that we can use for the colder seasons. And then the spring, which is what we are now, might not exactly feel like it right now because of all the rain, but we're coming up with different flavors that can we can incorporate into our recipes. Like today, we're using a lot of things that kind of are harvested in the winter time, like squashes, to make a wonderful dish that I'm going to finish off after this presentation. So spring is right now, so we can use a lot of different techniques like roasting vegetables, making hearty salads and casseroles. For the squashes, we can also roast them and also toss them in a really nice dressing to create a hearty, nice salad with some kale and some spinach and arugula to create a really nice hearty salad. In the summer, there is a selection of luscious, fresh greens that you can incorporate into more fresh salads or light main meals that can actually add fruit into your selection of main meals. So if you like to barbecue or roast things, you can even roast fruits to add into your selection of fresh lettuce and green vegetables. And then you can also save up a lot of yummy berries to make cobblers and pies. And this also in the season of tomatoes, cucumbers, and peas, where you can actually make cold soups and you don't actually have to make soups that are always hot. And then the fruits can be saved to make beautiful drinks such as spritzers and lemonades, and also decorate fruit tarts for a lot of the things that you can save during the summer. You can also freeze them and enjoy them in the summer and winter time. And then again, once the summer is finishing, some crops like apples you can use for creating pies, as well as making sauces to pair with things that are more hearty, like slow cooked pork or roasted lamb, or those type of more hearty dishes that you're going to eat in the autumn and winter times. So there are so many different things that you can go online to Google search different recipes to pair with certain things that you can find in local farmers markets. So please go and support local, because it actually creates community, and you can share knowledge and recipes with your local farmers. And so then they can actually help other friends that are coming to buy their produce, so to get more ideas to cook for themselves or their family. And then when you're supporting local and you were buying in season, you're going to save a lot more money. And then when you do buy all these things in the summer and springtime, you can also incorporate techniques such as like freezing them, or you can actually can them or pickling different things, so you can actually eat them throughout the winter time and the autumn time. And with good things in a can, you can also create special personalized gifts for during Christmas time or the winter time. So receiving something that you made at home, with fruits and vegetables that you bought in the summer, can gift your friends and make a really special gift at the end of the day. And you won't have to spend a lot of money to buy other things for them. So this chart you can find in Canadian Living, and these are some information that you can go by when you go seasonal shopping. So we're in the spring and in March and April time. So most of the summer fruits are not in season yet, but there are a lot of things that you can buy, such as like now there's a lot of apples and rhubarb, and you can also save these guys in either freezing them in frozen trays and then bagging them in either a reusable bag that you can find on like stashes.com, or you can also put them in glass jars in time for the summer when different berries are coming into season. So when you have rhubarb now, then you can actually make some rhubarb strawberry jam or rhubarb blueberry ice cream and things like that. So ideas can keep on coming when you kind of look at charts to buy in the season. So some vegetables you can find here. Asparagus is coming into season now. Carrots, as well as it's starting in the time where you can find like garlic ramps. You can also make sauces and also can them and preserve them in the freezer, or you can actually make a nice sauce and marinate different protein like tofu or chicken or fish, and you can separate them into smaller packages in the freezer. And when you're hungry, you can just pull a little portion out and put them in the toaster oven or in the oven, or put them on the pan, and it can be a really quick fix for dinner time or lunchtime when you don't have enough time to cook. So some of the things that I want to focus on is when you're eating seasonal produce and foods, it can prevent a lot of diseases and can make a lot of things come into play and keep your lifestyle a lot happier and easier. So when seasonal produce is picked and it's fully developed in its peak season, there are optimal levels of antioxidants. As I said, one antioxidant is vitamin C, which is in citrus foods, as well as in spinach and different vegetables as well. And also folate, very important for growth, and also beta carotene. Beta carotene is another name for vitamin A. So a lot of different types of dark red fruits and vegetables like red peppers and beets, as well as blueberries, have a lot of beta carotene in it. And those are amazing things in fruits and vegetables to help you actually prevent diseases, and it can actually improve your lifestyle. When you're eating seasonally, you can also help the environment. When you purchase foods from your local farmer and your local market, you can actually help yourself eat less produce that are subjected to high levels of pesticides and herbicides and fungicides. And when you're eating, things that are locally grown and organic, you can help farmers kind of continue to use less chemicals in their growing process, because these chemicals also deplete the soil and they can contaminate the water and can cause a lot of problems to our health. Okay. With that in mind, I also want to encourage everyone to increase their physical activity. Now that we are going into more of the warmer season, you can go out for walks. It doesn't have to be a long time. You can actually kind of put a set either aside either 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the time, kind of call a friend to see if they want to walk around the block, or go out and visit your local farmers market during the weekend. Just 10 minutes a day being out in the open air actually increases your mood, also helps you absorb some vitamin D that is vital to keeping the body functional. And it can also reduce a lot of different diseases, such as age-related macular degeneration for your eyes, improves muscle tone. It actually protects you from getting overweight, and it can promote insulin sensitivity. Therefore, it can actually prevent diseases such as diabetes, and can improve circulation. So we need a lot of movement to help the blood get to from your lungs all the way to the tips of your toes. And if you're moving regularly, your circulation improves, and therefore you can get oxygen to all parts of your body. So I'm here to ask you to choose your health. If you have, things that you want to start doing to optimize your health. If you're a smoker, you can think of quitting smoking. These are things that can impact your circulation. You can go to your local pharmacy to ask what they can do to help you with increasing activity. As I said, it can actually decreases your risk of heart disease, and it can promote healthy weight. So if you are a little bit on the higher BMI rating, you can actually help you decrease your weight and actually help impact your blood flow. And then also, when you're eating seasonally and follow a healthier diet, you can actually get things that are more delicious, and while eating these things can help you stay hydrated, so you can have to constantly remind yourself to drink water. I know for me, I need to set a little reminder on my phone, maybe every hour, to be like, oh, have you drank water? Because I live a very, 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 very busy life. So sometimes I need these reminders. But when you're eating seasonally, such as, in the summer that I said, with melons and fruits that are already very, very high in water content, you don't actually have to always remind yourself to do that. And then seasonally, reducing stress, right? A lot of times you go to the supermarket and you realize a lot of things have become more expensive now. So when you go around the supermarket or your farmers market, you can actually pick things that are less expensive because they are grown and by your local farmer, and you can buy them at a better rate when they are in season. So you can actually get more of it and try a canning process, try freezing it, or try pickling it to help reduce your stress when you need to cook dinner or lunch for yourself or for your family. And you can always have a little bit of something in your pantry that it's always there for you. Okay, so this is my last slide. Maintaining your health is more than just, eating a supplement or focusing on eating one type of food, or even when you go to the doctor and you get blood results, right? Or even just focusing on one type of exercise. It's really about getting a whole holistic understanding of what things you need to focus on to kind of keep your body moving, balancing your work, balancing your time that you're taking away for yourself, and not really just focusing on one nutrient. It's really about your overall lifestyle, and focusing on products that, when you're going out into the market and you're seeing all these things on the shelf saying like, this is low fat, or this is very high in fiber, or this is low in calories, this is, low in sodium. Make sure to turn that package around and look at the label. I had a previous talk with you guys maybe 2 years ago about label reading. I can go over that again if you need to ask any questions. I have some more information on my website about label reading. And it's really important to understand the macronutrients, right? So for the amount of fats that you need to eat, it's very important to not go too low fat, because when companies do low fat on their front, they might have substitute different things to make the food taste a lot better. So it might be very high in sugar, or it could be artificially sweetened or artificially flavored. So you want to actually make sure you look at the ingredients to understand your food labels. Sometimes when something is low, another thing is higher to compensate with the taste and look of the product. Okay, So prevention is key. If you have any more questions, you can also email info@truenosh.com to get to me. A local organization, bcdietitians.ca, has an amazing group of dietitians that can answer your questions. And then if you want to, you can always call HealthLink BC, call 811. And if you have nutrition questions, it's free for you to kind of be on the call with a dietitian, and don't hesitate to always reach out and ask for help if you don't know something. Okay. All right. So we're going to be back right now into my kitchen because I believe the spaghetti squash is done because it's been in there for about 15-20 minutes. Any questions that came up during my talk?
Not so far, Renee.
Okay, great. All right, so this recipe is very easy and I want to save you a lot of money. The squash isn't very expensive. This whole squash cost me about $3.50, and this is probably 4 meals for me. You can wrap it in either a plastic wrap, or you can face it down on top of a plate so the opening is not open to oxygen and won't oxidize, and try to eat this within 2 or 3 days of you cutting the first little bit off. Okay. All right. So I have some ingredients like cremini mushrooms, very easy. This whole container costs me $3.99, and this is again about 3 or 4 meals. And then a little bit of nuts. So this, I have pine nuts here, but if you have your favorite nut or seeds that you want to incorporate into your daily foods, like I can recommend pumpkin seeds. Those are high in zinc. If you don't like pine nuts, peanuts are great because they're very high in fiber and protein also, and they taste great roasted. And now I'm going to check on my spaghetti squash and my garlic. They both look really, really, really nice and roasted. And at the last 5 minutes, I'm just going to put in maybe a tablespoon of whatever nuts or seeds you decide to roast together with this, just next to the spaghetti squash. I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes, and I'm going to clean off my little cutting board here. I washed about 5 pieces of mushrooms that I have here, and I'm going to just lightly chop it. And if you don't like mushrooms, you don't have to add it in. You can substitute mushrooms with like eggplants and zucchini for that vegetable kind of serving size. This is a good way of, kind of measuring your serving size, is using your hand as a cup. If you don't like to wash like a cup, measuring cup, your hand is a great device to help you understand serving sizes. So if you're holding a cup and it fits all into your hand, that's about 1 cup, and it's about a really good 1 serving of vegetables. And if you are measuring some like butters or nut butters, like peanut butter, like a good indication of 1 serving size is about the size of the tip of your thumb. And then if you're thinking of protein sizes, your hand is also a great measurement for the ounces of protein. So if you're eating like a piece of fish or chicken, the inner part of your palms is a good like 4-ounce serving size, and that's about like 20 grams of protein if you're looking to kind of increase your protein. So I always like to incorporate fresh foods with something that I have in my pantry, and I always have some like sardines in my pantry because sometimes I just don't have time to buy fresh fish or fresh meat, and I'm rushing back home and there's nothing to eat. And if there's some vegetables and some squash, this is what I've been doing, some roasting, really quick squash. It takes about 20 minutes to roast squash. And I can open a can of sardines, or if you have salmon, that's great. A can of salmon is great. And they can also save you some time in cooking if you don't have raw pieces of protein to cook. Okay, so that nuts has been in the oven for about 3 minutes, and I'm going to add in some of the mushrooms on top as well. So this is my 1 plate cooking. So when it's roasting like that, I can now go set the table and, you know, get my partner to come down and get dinner ready in about 20 minutes. And at this time, once the mushrooms are in, it just needs 2 or 3 minutes to finish cooking, because the mushrooms are actually ready to eat. It doesn't actually need to be cooked. It just needs to kind of get a little bit warm. And I'm going to show you, once the spaghetti squash is done, you use a nice fork and you fork out all these little strands of spaghetti and mix all the mushrooms and the nice piece of garlic that will be really mushy and creamy into the sauce, and that will be a really, really fantastic meal. So I open the can of sardines, and I'm going to get a nice plate right now to plate my end product. I'm waiting for the mushrooms to kind of brown a little bit. I have a little bit of parsley in here, and parsley is great for garnishing, but it's also got a lot of fiber and chlorophyll. And if you don't like parsley, you can use like cilantro, or you can actually get some kale or lettuce to kind of accommodate for the greens that we're going to be adding to our plate. So I'm going to start out by ripping some parsley leaves off to kind of get a nice garnish on my plate. And then I'm going to grab a fork. And then I'm going to pour a little bit of the oil from the sardines on the bottom of my plate. And I'm going to grab some oven mitts. And take this beautiful creation out of the oven. Okay, so this is very hot. You want to be careful. I'm going to take that down. And I want to show you how beautiful the garlic is looking right now. If you guys can see, it's all nice and brown. And what you want to do is take that garlic out. And it's not too hot. What you want to do is you can squeeze that garlic and it will ooze out of its shell. And you can just mash it with your fork and it should mash out a really nice garlicky paste. And this garlic is great if you spread it on bread too. So I just put 2 cloves of garlic on the bottom. And then I'm going to bring you guys closer to my spaghetti squash here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Hope you can see it. And what I'm doing is I'm using the fork to fork out all the beautiful strands of squash to get it off of the peel. Great, you see how beautiful that looks. And I'm going to add it to the plate of garlic and parsley that I created. Sure you get all that yumminess out of here. And because we season it already, we don't need to season it further. Let me add the mushrooms on top. Okay, and then once the mushrooms are on, you're going to fork out a few fillets of the sardine and place it on top like it's your main. And then this beautiful roasted pine nuts will be a garnish. And we'll give it a really nice, colorful finish. And here is dinner or lunch or whatever meal that you would like to have an easy day off of fussing. All right. Any questions with that recipe? How's everyone doing?
No questions. Looks delicious.
So again, this took me maybe like 20 minutes to make. You can roast a lot of different sizes and the whole spaghetti squash in one go and feed about 6 people within 30 minutes of preparation. With the garlic, you can save this in the fridge for about 2 days. And then whenever you want a piece of toast, you can squeeze a little clove out and then just put it on the piece of toast, and it will add a lot of flavor and yumminess to everything you make. The type of protein is all up to you. You can do roasted tofu, you can use salmon, you can use other types of fish that you have. You don't always, if you don't like sardines or fish, you don't have to use that at all. But that's kind of an idea of how you can use spaghetti squash in your kitchen. So I'm all up for questions. If there's questions after this presentation, you can always email me or find me on Facebook, which is the True Nosh Company. And we do have a store down the street, very close by to your community gardens between Granville Island and Indigo Chapters bookstore. It's on 7th and Granville. Please visit us. There are a lot of different things that you can find with our store. There's meals ready to go, grab and go. We do meal prepping. There's some pastries, and everything is going to be gluten-free too. If you guys are gluten intolerant or celiac, we have a entirely gluten-free space, as well as the pastries that we make are sugar-free. We only use fruits to sweeten our offerings.
Awesome. I put your website in the chat as well, Renee.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, there'll probably be some questions after. I kind of spat out a lot of information, so it might take some time to process some of the things I said. Yeah,
totally. I can put the True Nosh email as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then also bcdietitians.ca. So a lot of dietitians who are specialized in different fields. I mean, I do mainly diabetes, and we have a lot of people that have different specialties that can help out with answering any of your needs.
Awesome. I put that in the chat as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And this would be on Connetra, right, for the Facebook?
Yeah, so it'll live on Facebook and YouTube as well. So there might be some stuff that comes up in the comments there. We'll make sure to get back to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right.
Awesome.
I hope everyone had fun. I did. Since I've been with you. So yeah, this is great.
Always appreciate you. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.